Let me get that. I'll have the chat open and be able to see it. If you want to drop a question in there, that's fine. So let's just start in chapter 4 or section 4.2. So we started in 4.2, which was really a section on simplifying logarithms. And at first it was an introduction to logarithms. And we went back and forth from the exponential form to the logarithmic form. So I'm going to just give you homework. So I'm going to create a study guide in a way just out of the homework. This has kind of worked the best for this test. For the homework in 4.2, good examples of this would be like 7, 11, and like 13. Okay, those are 3 good examples for the study guide for this homework. So then we went into simplifying using those basic rules. So I'll call it just like basic rule simplification. Okay, basic rule simplification. And these are actually kind of in 2 different spots. We had like where we had the logarithm and we need to simplify it, and then we also had the common logs. So this is going to be out of 2 different spots in your homework, but it would be like 23. I'll choose some odds, right? 23, 27, 31, 37, and then flip down to like the 80s and 90s because they use the natural logarithm and the log base 10 to get comfortable with that. So like 81, 91, and 95. Okay, that's a good group of questions for just using the basic rule, which we use that basic rule in 4.3 as well. So we have to understand how to do these basic rules before we go on to the next section. And if you've been following along to the homework, you'll know that. So basic rule, and then we had domain, the domain of logarithms, which was just 2 questions, 75 and 77. Okay, and then lastly, just an application question, just to get comfortable using logarithms with real world questions. We've got the height question 113, and then 115, which is in the homework. I think someone asked me about 115. So those are 2 good, just kind of basic real world application questions from this section. Okay. Any questions on 4.2? I would focus on these. I would get the homework done, and I would focus on these. Okay. And you can kind of make your own little study guide there based off of these questions. Yes, you are correct. It starts on page 465. Okay, section 4.2. Okay. So next we've got 4.3, which at first 4.3 introduced 3 new rules. It was like the product rule, the quotient rule, and the power rule. And at first in the homework and on the test, you'll see that we expand using those rules, expand and then condense. So let's first look at expansion. Expand logs and then simplify. Expand logarithms and then simplify. I'm going to try to get this working. Right there. Okay. Expand log and simplify. This was the first part of the homework from section 4.3. Excuse me. So it'd be like 3, 9, 17. Those are good basic ones. And then like 23 and let's say 27, those kind of combine all of them. So the first 3 are just the 3 basic rules. We've got the product, quotient, power, but then the last 2 combine all 3 of those. And then we had condense. We had to condense the logarithms, right? If we can expand it, we can condense it back. That's kind of the rule. But for condensing, we'd have like 43, let's say 47, 51, and then 57. Those are all good examples of condensing logarithms where you have more than one logarithm and then you have to bring it together as one singular logarithm. And then we had, the change of base formula. So when we needed to get an approximation, when we knew a single logarithm and we needed an approximation, we could use this change of base formula. Examples are like 71 and 77. Not 71, but 71 and 77. This was just know how to use your calculator question. Right, if you know how to use your calculator, you'll be able to do that change of base. It was pretty easy. And really, we used it in 4.4 to get an approximate answer in the end, right? If we wanted an approximation for the answer, we could get that in the end. And then, Justine, that was page 477. Okay, 4.4. You guys have any questions about these before I keep going on? I mean, you can ask in the end too. That's fine. No big deal. 4.4 was on solving. We had solving exponents first, right? And the book went over two different ways to solve in the lecture. Went over two different ways to solve exponents. It would be like number 3, 5. That's kind of the first way of doing it. And then, what if we can't get it into a common base? That would be like 27, 35. Yeah, and then like 39. Those are all good examples. And then we had solving logarithms. Solving logarithms would be like, you just had to get the logarithm into the exponential form. This would be like 49 is a good basic example. 55, same thing. Let's do 61 because it brings in the ln. And then 67. And then we had the applications from this section. So the applications, I really like the money example, but you'll probably see that one again. So like let's say 107 and 111. Those are two good examples. And then another one like 117, the example we did in class with students who you forget things, right? That was in that lecture. Now, just see, this was on page 4. It started on page 489, and it goes to 491. Yeah, 489 to 481.